Hey, what's up, guys? I just got done watching Digital's latest video and Lambdog's video, Attention to Gun Owners, and Digital's video was titled My Thoughts on Why So Few New Gun Owners. And they're right on the money. Back in April, I made a video called something along the lines of Why Are We Not All Stewards of Our Values or Principles or something like that. And I touched a little bit on a higher level of what they're talking about, specifically when it comes to a hobby or a lifestyle or a thing. The people that are in it, they're always wanting to climb on top of each other to be like the top dog. Some guy always gets lauded with praise from individuals because he spent the most money and got the coolest something in whatever it is that they do. And gun ownership seems to be like that too. You know, people with the biggest, 50 caliber rifle that they can have, with the most doodads on their ARs, all that stuff. The problem is that doesn't translate well to people that are new or coming into the hobby, or the culture, really, is what we should start calling it. And that kind of shies a lot of people off. A lot of people don't want to get into that pecking order of what's the best and why don't you have the best and you need to have this, this sucks. 1911's great. You don't want a Glock, or Glock's the best. 1911, all that stuff, that sausage making that we do in the culture, the discussions we have, they're deep and they're rich and they're interesting. But to the uninitiated, we look like crazy people in some cases. And I'll give it a point. You can go into a gun store and you get some young guy behind the counter, and this isn't a young guy thing or whatever, I'm just painting a picture. And you have somebody come in saying, I'm interested in a gun, what do you recommend? And the first thing they put in their hands is like, a 45 or a 357 Magnum, and they said, well, I'm kind of looking for like a rifle or something, and all of a sudden they're holding a Remington 700 and 308 or whatever, or they're holding some AK variant or an AR pattern rifle or whatever, and really all that guy needs, all he needs to be pointed into, and maybe the only thing he wants, what will just fit his little world, that the input that he can take in right now, is a Ruger 1022. He needs a 22 rifle. He needs some positive reinforcement. He needs to be heard, understood, and then built upon, boosted up, not come join us in the race to be the coolest guy at the party. Going forward, I've always had a policy that if anybody engages me and we talk about firearms, no matter what the situation is, I invite them to go to the range with me. And the way I approach it, particularly for those who have not shot a gun before, and even those who have shot a gun before but they haven't shot in a long time, the first thing I put in their hands is a rimfire 22 rifle. And it's a blast. You can't not shoot that and have a good time. There's no way. Nobody has ever gone shooting with me and leaves and says, God, I'll never do that again. I don't know that there's many people who ever have that situation where they go, oh, that's not I'll never do that again. It's one of those, like, those e-cards you see, joking pictures on the internet, says no one ever. Except Lambdog's point is true when, you take somebody to the range and the jerk puts a, 44 mag in the guy's hands and say, here you go crazy. And he, clocks himself in the face or whatever. It's all right, I'm going to say something a little sexist here, but you ever get in a fight with your wife or your girlfriend or whatever, and it's because you're trying to fix the problem, and they just want to tell you what the problem is and have you be sympathetic? Guys, we are the worst at this. You tell me a problem, and I want to talk about how you fix it. I want to talk about, just like I treat a car, I'm going to try and troubleshoot your problems at your work. That's the kind of guy I am. That's the kind of guy most people are. When people talk about guns, it's almost like a woman talking to you about a problem they're having. That's sexist, I know, but it needs to be approached from the point of view is that they're trying to relay their feelings to you. And so they need to be felt. They need to feel as though you're actually internalizing that and you're not just giving them a one size fits all solution to a problem. Understand where they're coming from, understand where they're at, and then build upon that. Encourage them through saying multiple things about what they already know or that they seem to have a very clear idea of what they're interested in, and that's good. Most people don't. Most people are like, I don't know what's going on. You've got to walk them through it. That's even harder. Yeah, great video, both of you guys. I think that right now we find ourselves with an opportunity and a challenge at the same time. We have a marketing problem. We have a big-time marketing problem, and Digital nailed the numbers exactly, that the culture of gun ownership is becoming smaller and smaller. And part of it, I believe, is because the language that is used to describe gun owners is negative. The language to describe the guns is negative. And the terms that are used are blanket and confusing. And when you confuse everything and you make this group of people look like bad people or kind of sketchy, then their numbers are going to start shrinking and shrinking and shrinking because they're not a part of the average whole society. Liberals have done a good job in the area of guns in dictating how society views gun owners. They've done a very good job at creating a dialogue that puts us outside of the normal. This society, good or bad, part of the reason why it sustains itself for the greatest common good or whatever, is that there is what's perceived as normal, and then there's perceived as counter-normal, counterculture, that kind of thing. Gun ownership is finding itself in the counterculture place of society, which is an entirely bad place to be, particularly because of how guns function and work. It's not a good thing to be on the counterculture side of any particular argument, particularly for guns. Because then you have to go and you have to start preaching about rights, liberty, and that kind of thing, which is, I believe, finite. But most people don't. Most normal person, or rational, societal, normal person, does not think or talk about the different nuances of freedoms and rights and all that stuff. So the only way you get people towards that and to be receptive to it is if they understand what you're about is actually not that scary. It's not something that is... You need to have them, you need to help them take off the rose-colored glasses. The rose-colored glasses of the world that they think that they live in and have been told they live in. And the only way you do that is by taking them out and shooting. That's the only way I've found to do it. I've had luck in talking to people and trying to debunk things like what an assault weapon is. And that's been the recent, week and a half. I've talked to 5 or 6 people that have just, they make statements like, why should anyone have this? Why should anyone have that? Why should teachers do this? Why should... all these buzz terms, those things that the media is talking about, they're saying anybody who views teachers carrying guns is crazy, basically, alluding to. They use the language to allude to that fact. Or these baby-killing machine guns, assault weapons, whatever, are capable of shooting thousands and thousands of bullets. So, yeah, the only way that you're going to be able to reach somebody that is a part of the society that's not a gun owner and in the gun culture is by taking them out and showing them in a comfortable and safe environment. Not that they're physically safe, but they feel mentally safe and comfortable. That's the only way we're going to make progress and change the marketing, the poor marketing that we have right now. Good videos, guys. All right, take it easy.